Hello to the nation. Hello to the nation, Dr. PlayStation Nation here, talking to you guys over my new series, How to Twitch. Guys, so pretty much this series is going to be me showing you guys anything and everything to do with how I set up my streams to look something similar to this. Whereas my video would be there, and I have my little stuff going on in the corner. Over down here would be, in the bottom corner would be my plug DJ, or bottom right corner would be my plug DJ. As you guys saw, my bottom left had the little pop-up thing, all the borders, that sort of stuff. Backgrounds behind me, and even green screen settings and stuff like that. I'm going to be showing you guys basically how to do all of that stuff. We're going to start off with the basics. This is just how did I do what you guys just saw on screen? How did I even record that? How would you stream that? Because very possibly with just clicking a different button, I can start streaming. And even stuff like how I do this how I do like these like hit a button on my keyboard, boom, all my applications open up for me to start streaming. Stuff like that is going to be in this series. So if you guys aren't subscribed, make sure you guys subscribe, or check out the playlist link in the description, and you guys will see all the other videos where I teach you guys all the other cool stuff. But we're gonna start off with basics. So the basics being, let's go over to here. So we're gonna minimize myself here. So what is this that's on screen? This software right here is called OBS. This is, as you guys can see on the top, I'm in my profile for recording, my scenes, and then, you know, I'm in version 0.637b. So I'm going to show you guys how to record, or how to download this. First things first, you guys are going to want to open up Google Chrome, then you're going to want to just type in basically OBS. OBS is going to bring you over to obsproject.com, and you guys will be able to download from there. I'll leave a link in the description as well, just because I know Googling doesn't always work, but if they change their link, just search up OBS, you should be able to find it. Anyway, so once you're here, they're going to have the Get OBS version 0.637 or whatever the hell the version is at that point. I am currently on 637, and then they're also going to have Get OBS multi-platform. Now, unless in this playlist I actually show you guys, there's a separate video on OBS multi-platform. Don't get OBS multi-platform. Currently, there's no version for Windows 7 or Windows 8, so most of you guys, there is a version for OS X 10. It's not that great. There's not really a ton of features there. You guys are going to want to get this one, but I guess if you're on OS X, getting, you know, this version is your only option there, because there's no Windows 8 or there's no OS X version over here. So you're going to want to download this. So you're going to click this link, it's going to download for you, and then you're going to install it. It's a very simple procedure. I'm not going to go through the install procedure. You're just simply going to install it. The difficulty comes when you start having to set up your own settings for OBS. So actually getting streaming to work. That's the big difficulty here. So when you first start, you're going to be greeted with a screen. None of these different things are going to be there. I'm sorry about clicking all those, but none of those different things are actually going to be there. Like, as you guys can see here, I keep forgetting that you guys aren't just stuck on my screen. Anyway, none of those are going to be here. What you guys need to do is you guys are going to need to make your own scene. So your own scene, that's what we'll talk about in the next one. So actually making scenes is going to be in the next video. What we're going to have to worry about right now is actually getting your stuff started, actually starting streaming. So basically, sorry about that, guys. So basically, what you guys are going to want to do is you guys are going to want to start off by going to your settings and just modifying a few things. So first of all, your language. Most of you guys are going to be English, especially if you're watching this video. Then you're going to have a settings profile. Now, some of these settings are grayed out just because I'm using OBS right now to record my screen and record this video. But you're going to want to set a profile. So I have two profiles. I have a streaming profile and a recording profile. The difference in those is the bit rate. Is the rate at which I record videos for encoding. And on my recording, it's much higher because I want a higher bitrate, I want a higher quality, and in streaming, it's much lower because I don't have that great of an internet speed. So anyway, so in that profile, you can set whatever profiles you want. I have streaming and recording, like I said. From there, you guys are going to want notification area icon, minimize the notification area or notification area. I have those unchecked just because when I minimize OBS, I don't want it to go to the tray. I want it to still have its icon available. And I don't like using this little tray thing for all of my crap anyway. Enable cursor over projector. You guys can decide whether you guys want that or not. Basically, whether you're going to see the cursor. Show login window on OBS launch. I really don't mind either way, so I'm not going to do that. And some of these settings I'm going to gloss over because very honestly, I don't know what I want to I've never actually played with them enough to know. So anyway, moving on to here, guys. Some of these settings are not going to be grayed out for you because you guys probably won't be recording or streaming while you're changing these settings. But anyway, my encoding option, I'm using X264. X264 is a very good technology. Even though I have a great graphics card and a great processor, my processor doesn't actually support QuickSync. If you guys have a processor that supports QuickSync, you may want to test this a little bit and test to see how you can actually preview streams, you can record. So instead of actually streaming to test how the stream quality is, you can record to test how it is and then view it and see how it works with QuickSync versus X264. But X264 works for me. It's pretty much what the majority of people will use. Next, you're gonna have the use CBR checked. Don't bother asking, guys. You're just gonna want to have that checked. And then you're gonna have your quality balance. So quality balance for me, it goes, so as you turn it up, you're going to want to have a higher and higher bit rate. So for you guys, I'm just going to keep it at 8. You guys can decide what you guys exactly would want. Lowering it is fine, upping it is fine. And also, if you guys hover over the right areas, certain windows will actually suggest things. So this sets, so as you guys see that box, this sets the maximum bit rate used for the video. Note that all the blah, 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 blah. Basically saying set a bit rate that is proper for your internet connection. So in this case, I'm setting 5,000. That is insanely high. The only reason I'm using that is because this is my recording setup, so I don't actually intend on ever streaming using this. When I'm actually doing, when I'm actually streaming, this is more like 1,800, guys. So less, like almost 1/4 almost like, yeah, almost a third or whatever of 5,000. So you guys are going to want to change that to whatever matches your internet speed. Right now for my internet speed, I think I have 6,000 kilobit. I think I have 6,000 kilobit or 6 megabit upload speed. So it's going to be based off your upload speed. So you're going to want to find something that works. My suggestion is if you're doing 1080p streams, you're going to need a higher bit rate than what I do. I do 720p streams and my streams are going at about 1,800 kilobits. So I would change that number to 1,800. And then this is the exact same. So this should always, the buffer size should always be the same as the max bit rate. And then I use custom buffer size. I uncheck that so that I don't want to use that. And then enable CBR padding. Again, just like use CBR, you're gonna wanna have that checked. So you're gonna wanna find a bitrate that works for you. I suggest if you're doing it, if you know that you have a really great upload speed and it's not gonna be a problem, start it off at something like maybe 3,000 kilobit or maybe even 4,000 or 5,000 kilobit and see how that works for you. Again, the higher the amount that you can put in there, the less encoding your processor is actually going to have to do because it's not going to have to shrink the video to such a small size. So anyway, sorry I'm spending so much time on encoding, but this is probably one of the most important panels to make sure you get right. And a lot of the testing and test streams you're gonna have to do are gonna be on this page. So anyway, then you're gonna go to your audio codec. You're gonna either be able to choose between AAC and MP3. You're gonna want AAC, hands down. That's just it. AAC is better. You're gonna then want to pick your bitrate. I just go maximum bitrate. You guys can modify that if you want to a lower bitrate, but audio is extremely important in streams, making sure that you don't have crummy audio. And also it doesn't take very much processing power to encode, so that's also another thing. Then you're gonna have your format. So again, 48 kilohertz. I don't exactly know what the difference is. I'm sure it's not that big of a deal, but you just 48 kilohertz, that's what I use. I'm sure it has some sort of compatibility issues with possibly Twitch or something along those lines. That's why it's set as default. And then finally, stereo. You wanna make sure you set your audio encoding to stereo so that you don't have viewers only hearing you on left side, only hearing you on right, or sorry, you don't have viewers that are hearing the same thing on left and right side. So if you're trying to sound horn a video game, your viewers can actually hear whether a sound is coming from the left or right. It doesn't matter for your voice because it's going to put that in the middle anyway, but when you're hearing sounds, you want to make sure that you're uploading a stereo channel for audio. So that's very important. Make sure it's stereo. Then we're going to go to broadcast settings, guys. So as you guys can see, I have all this here. I'm not going to show you guys my stream key. So you guys want to pick what mode you want to be in, file output only. I have live stream just so I can possibly live stream. I could just set this to file output only, but for you guys are going to want live stream. You're then going to pick your streaming platform. You can also add streaming platforms by going to browse. So if there's a specific streaming platform which needs its own set of things that are set up by it. You guys can browse and be able to add them there, but Twitch is by far the most popular. You also have some other good ones like YouTube. For those of you who are partnered, you guys can do YouTube streams. You got ConnectCast. You got I think Hitbox is here. Where is Hitbox? Hitbox right there, hitbox.tv and stuff like that. So anyway, then you're going to want to pick your FMS URL. That probably just want to pick some place that's either close to you or the default that it suggests. So that's another thing. Then you're going to want your stream key. Your stream key can be found in your twitch.tv/channel/dashboard, I believe it is. So I'll leave the link again in the description. Or on the screen or something like that. I'll throw it there what the link format is for that. You'll find it in your either settings or dashboard. One of the two, you'll have your stream key there and you'll be able to paste that in there. Then you have your auto reconnect. I like to have an auto reconnect just because in case my internet goes down while I'm playing a game and I don't realize it, it's very useful to just have it automatically go back up. You're not sitting there for 30 minutes and it hasn't went back up. That's useful for things like, say you're getting maybe DDoSed or something similar and you just want to know when you're available to stream again. You can continue going and then it'll keep on trying to reconnect. Then you have your delay time, then you have your auto reconnect timeout, which is basically it'll start a counter and it'll start like 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then it'll reconnect or attempt to reconnect, and then so on and so forth. It'll repeat. Then you have your delay seconds. I just set that to 0 so it continuously tries to reconnect. And then you have your minimize network impact. Basically have that unchecked. It's a default setting. Automatically save stream to file. I have that set up. It's going to save it to my recordings folder. So even on my streaming profile, I do have it also to save, so I always save my things. Then you have your replay buffer length. So this one's interesting. If you guys are the type of people that are trying to get montages or something, you're playing, you're streaming Call of Duty, and you get a really nice clip and you don't have the hard drive space to just record your entire stream, what you can do instead is you can sorry about this, guys, you can actually set up it up so that it keeps a certain amount of your previous videos. So say, for instance, you get a really nice, quad or something like that, or something really funny happens in a game of Minecraft or whatever it is, you simply hit a hotkey on your keyboard and it's actually going to take the last, say I change this to 10 seconds, the last 10 seconds and save it to a file. And that file is decided by here. It's going to save it here as replay, number T and FLV. So it's going to save it as an FLV. Then now you have your warnings. So XSplit is going to warn you about various things. So your OBS settings are not optimized for use of Twitch. Please set the following. And then it tells you reduce your maximum bitrate to 3500, reduce your audio bitrate to 160. Again, you guys can reduce it to 160 if you guys want for streaming. I keep mine at 320 even when I do stream, just so that I get better audio. As you guys can hear, my audio does sound very good. And this is also another video that I'm going to be doing, teaching you guys how to make your audio sound this good, because this is not how my default microphone sounds. Anyway, continuing from there, now you have video. So your video, usually you're going to want to use your video adapter. Sometimes in the cases where you're using something like QuickSync, or in the cases where sometimes you don't have a dedicated graphics card and instead are using integrated graphics with your CPU, you will be able to choose that. And sometimes with newer, Iris graphics or something like that, you might actually want to use your integrated graphics in tandem with your dedicated graphics card. So you guys can experiment with that. I currently just use my graphics card. I have a 780 Ti, very powerful graphics card, so I can afford to do that. Next, you're going to want to do your base resolution. Even when I'm streaming, so this is the difference. I only stream at 720p, but I still do my base resolution at 1920 by 1080, and then I use my resolution downscale to downscale that 1080p using 1.5. So it's going to downscale by 1.5, which will turn it into 1280 by 720. That is up to you guys whether you guys want to do that. Basically, what the difference is if you make it 720p, anytime you put a window on there or something that you're playing, assuming your monitor is 1080p, you're going to need to shrink it down to fit into the screen. So that's basically what the difference is. Just the size of your stage is going to be whatever you put here as your base resolution. Then you're going to do FPS. You guys can do 60 FPS streams now that Twitch supports it. I believe YouTube actually also supports 60 FPS streams. I might be wrong about that, but you guys can actually do that if you guys would like to. If your upload speed can support it. And yeah, cool. And then also you can can set which monitor that is. So for me, that's monitor 2, the one I'm currently using. So then now we're going to have audio. So this is where it gets interesting. So for me, at least, it's a little bit different than with other people. So you're going to want to obviously use for your desktop audio, you're going to want to use your default usually. Sometimes for those of you who set up a lot of VACs, that's virtual audio cables, you guys will want to use something different. But for me, it's just default. Then we're going to have your microphone. So this actually is my microphone, but using a technique that I have, I use a virtual audio cable to make a virtual audio device, which is going to be this one, which is why my audio sounds really good. And then you're going to force microphone auxiliary to mono. You don't want to do that. Well, I at least don't want to do that. You guys might, if you guys have some wonky, plug-in issues where your, audio only comes out of one ear, like your microphone is only heard in one ear or something similar. And then show only connected devices. That's useful if you're constantly moving your computer or plugging in different devices. You want to make sure that you're only displaying your connected devices. So not necessarily all of you guys, but if some of you guys are having that issue where your mic's not working, try checking that box, and then maybe some of them will disappear, and maybe you've been using a microphone that's not plugged in or not at least noticed by Windows. So anyway, then we're going to talk about these settings. So for instance, with me, you guys might be noticing a slight difference in when my audio comes out and when my mouth moves. So when you guys hear my audio and when my mouth moves, that may be an issue if you guys have this issue, because my webcam is delayed. Basically, my webcam takes about 200 milliseconds to process what is being said. So I might fix this in post. I might fix the audio sync issue because I don't have it set up to be fixed in recording, but in streaming I do. In streaming, I actually have to offset my mic by 250 milliseconds. So that's something that you guys can do here. You guys are going to need to do this on your own, figure out exactly what the delay is on your webcam if you do have one, and figure out how to fix that. So you guys are going to be able to delay that here. And then, you can boost your mic with various gains and whatnot. So basically double your microphone volume or triple or whatever, or boost your desktop if it's extremely low. Usually you don't want to do that. Usually you want to use other means to do that, but sometimes using OBS is good. And then finally, now we're gonna have hotkeys. I don't use a lot besides, just start recording and start streaming hotkey, and I honestly don't use those either. I just click the button because it's not that difficult. And unless you guys, of course, are in some sort of game using like DirectX or something like that you don't want to tab out of, then that could be very useful. Finally, in this section, I should say, not finally, but in this section, now we have our advanced. So these are going to be, you guys should definitely pay attention to these. So my stream settings are different than what are seen right here. My stream settings I have changed since I've gotten my new computer, but I changed these ones back to the defaults so that you guys see what the defaults are, because I changed mine quite a bit with my new processor that I got. I have a 5960X, so it's an 8-core 16-thread processor, something that's very capable of doing something like video encoding at very slow speeds, because it's still going to be able to keep up. Anyway, continuing, so now you have things like, your general settings. So use multi-threaded optimization. So if you guys do have a multi-core processor, which you most likely will need, please guys have an i5 processor, at the very least something quad-core to be streaming, or you're probably not gonna have that great of a time. So use multi-threaded optimizations. You definitely wanna use that. You're gonna wanna have process priorities. So if you notice you're dropping frames sometimes, you usually want to give your, OBS priority. So basically the way you're going to want to do that is normally you'd open up your task manager, you'd then go over details, you go to OBS, you're going to right click, go to your set priority, and then you're going to set it accordingly to there. Now what this is actually going to do is it's going to automatically do that once you start up OBS. So you guys can do that there too. That's something that you guys can definitely do. Let's make sure I'm still recording, because I don't know if doing Control-Alt-Delete changes that. So anyway. And then, so now you're going to disable encoding while previewing. So basically just means you're going to not be encoding while previewing, very basic. The scene buffering time, I set that to default 700 milliseconds, I believe. Then you're going to have allow other modifiers on hotkeys. So basically allowing hotkeys to do other things, not just be the hotkeys that you set them. So Yeah, then you're gonna have your video, the more complicated in here. Make sure your coding profile is main and make sure your keyframe interval is 2. That's just what you want to keep it at that. And the default is very fast. It's recommended as well. If you notice that your computer cannot keep up, that you're dropping frames consistently, or your stream is very laggy and choppy, and setting your priority class as higher does not fix that, you guys are going to want to up this to super fast or ultra fast. Know that this is also going to make the quality of your stream worse. So it's going to allow your computer to actually keep up, but it's going to make the quality of your stream worse. Use CFR, again, that's a default option. I honestly don't know what that does. And then custom x264 encoder settings. So if you guys would like to put in your custom settings in the parameter of, square bracket parameter equals square bracket value, and then, do all that sort of stuff, you guys can, but probably any of you guys that know what this means won't be watching this video. Allow 61 to 120 FPS entry in video settings. That's if you guys for some reason want to record at 120 frames, or sorry, stream at 120 frames, which is ridiculous. I don't think any streaming source supports that. It would usually only be for people recording. If you want to record something at 120 FPS and then slow it down later or something similar. Then we have audio. Force desktop audio to use video timestamps as a base for audio time. So this is if you guys are recording it, most likely if you're recording it, and you can match up timestamps. So when you hit the record button, you can actually match those up. Global audio sync offsets. So that's basically making sure that all the audio delays properly. And I could use this instead of using the audio settings. I choose to use the audio settings. You guys can mess around with this if you want. Leave this unchecked. Automatic latency mode, leave it unchecked. Bind to interface default, latency tuning factor, and then default I believe is 20. So you guys are gonna wanna just copy all these settings. Now quick sync. My processor is not enabled for quick sync just because usually somebody with a processor like mine has a graphics card, which usually the graphics card is better for encoding things more quickly, which is why back in our, I believe it was video settings, yes, we used the video adapter, the 780 Ti. So then what you guys might want to do if you have a processor that's enabled for quick sync, you might want to mess around with these settings. I have absolutely no knowledge on these settings because I, again, have never used it. I used it with my previous processor a little bit, but I just decided to use my graphics card, the 780 Ti, because I had it. So you guys can mess around with that if you want. QuickSync has had a lot of successes. I've heard a lot of people say that QuickSync, has done wonders for them, and more power to you if you can work this out. Now we're gonna have browser. So this browser is just gonna change a bunch of stuff. You can change, the color of this stuff. You can change, all that way that works. That's, whatever. You don't really want to mess around here. And then your microphone noise gate, you guys can actually use, you guys can actually hit this preview button here. It's grayed out for me, but it won't be for you. And you guys can modify basically what OBS picks up on your microphone. So say you don't want it to pick up the vacuum that's in the background or the lawnmower outside or something similar to that, you guys can set that so that it'll actually not pick that up. And that is it, guys. So I'm gonna hit cancel. You guys would hit OK, and for some reason my green screen's not working, which would then be settings similar to this. Boom, there, it's fixed, guys. So anyway, it's actually coming back. Wow, the sun came out and then it went away. So that ruined it. But anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Hopefully you guys learned a little bit of something about OBS. And sorry about how stale this video was. It was pretty much just showing you guys settings. But in future videos, it'll definitely be better. And I'm definitely going to try and give you guys better, more like rare information. I've spent, hours upon hours installing various plugins to make sure that all of these different things work, researching things like Tboard and things like Tnotifier and Nightbot and all those various things, and I will be demonstrating all of those to you in this playlist. So anyway, hopefully you guys did enjoy it. Make sure you slam that like button, subscribe to Join the Nation, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.